Hey everybody, welcome to the show. You know how much I love a good scam, and today we're diving deep into the thrilling world of casino cons. That's right, we're talking about the hustlers, the cheats, the guys who think they can outsmart the system and walk away with a pile of cash. Now, I'm not saying you should try any of this at home. In fact, I'm saying the exact opposite. But it's fascinating to see how these scams work, the lengths people go to, and how the casinos fight back. So buckle up, grab your lucky charm, and let's raise the curtain on the shadiest corners of the casino floor. Let's start with the classics, the scams that players themselves pull off. We've all heard of card counting, right? Made famous by movies like Rain Man. It's a real thing, but way harder than it looks. It involves keeping track of the cards dealt to get an edge. Now, casinos have gotten wise to this, using multiple decks and shuffling machines to make it near impossible. Then you've got marking cards, subtly altering them with invisible ink or scratches to identify their value later. Again, casinos are on high alert for this, with high-tech cameras and trained eyes watching every shuffle and deal. Collusion is another big one. Picture this: a group of players working together, signaling each other about their hands to clean up at poker or blackjack. Casinos combat this with strict rules and eagle-eyed pit bosses trained to spot any suspicious behavior. And how about dice sliding? This one's all about skilled manipulation. The scammer tries to subtly slide the dice instead of rolling them, controlling the outcome. Casinos use special dice tables with angled edges and vigilant stickmen to make this a risky move. The bottom line is, these player-based scams are a constant cat-and-mouse game, with both sides always trying to outsmart each other. Things get even juicier when we talk about casino staff getting in on the action. Now, most casino employees are honest, hard-working folks, but there's always a bad apple or two looking to make a quick buck. One way is by colluding with players. Imagine a dealer subtly overpaying a winning bet or ignoring a losing one. Or how about a crooked croupier using sleight of hand to rig the roulette wheel? These scams rely on trust and timing, but they can be incredibly lucrative. Then there's false shuffling, where a dealer pretends to shuffle the cards but keeps certain ones in a specific order to benefit themselves or a player in cahoots. Casinos try to prevent this with strict procedures and multiple cameras monitoring every move. Rigging equipment is another dangerous game. Think tampered slot machines, rigged card shufflers, or even altered dice. This requires technical know-how and access to the equipment, making it a high-risk, high-reward scam. Casinos combat these insider threats with rigorous background checks, regular staff rotations, and a culture of vigilance. But as with any industry, where there's money involved, there's always someone looking for a way to game the system. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is where things get really interesting. As casinos become increasingly reliant on technology, so do the scammers trying to exploit it. Slot machines, once mechanical behemoths, are now sophisticated computers with their own vulnerabilities. We've heard stories of hackers using electronic devices or software glitches to manipulate these machines and trigger massive payouts. RFID chips, those tiny tracking devices embedded in casino chips, aren't immune either. Some scammers have figured out ways to clone or manipulate these chips, potentially allowing them to cash in on someone else's winnings. And let's not forget about online casinos, a whole new frontier for digital deception. From bots programmed to play poker flawlessly to sophisticated hacking attempts to steal player data and funds, the online world presents a whole new set of challenges. Casinos are fighting back with advanced firewalls, encryption software, and constant monitoring to stay one step ahead of the tech-savvy scammers. It's a high-stakes battle for control of the digital domain. Let's talk about something a little more old school, but still very much in play: counterfeit money and chips. It's the oldest trick in the book, but it still works surprisingly often. Imagine a scammer walking in with a stack of fake bills, trying to exchange them for real chips. Casinos are wise to this, using ultraviolet lights and special markers to detect counterfeit currency. Then there's chip washing, where low-denomination chips are chemically treated to remove their markings and then repainted as higher value ones. It's a delicate process, but if done right, it can be quite profitable. Counterfeit cash-out tickets are another headache for casinos. These tickets, printed with fake amounts, are then presented for payment. Casinos combat this with sophisticated printing techniques and unique security features on their tickets. Of course, the best countermeasure is good, old-fashioned vigilance. Casino staff are trained to scrutinize every bill and chip, looking for any signs of tampering or forgery. It's a constant battle to stay ahead of the counterfeiters, but casinos are always upping their game. Now, let's delve into the fascinating world of psychological manipulation. This isn't about gadgets or tech, it's about using your wits and charm to gain an advantage. Distraction is a classic tactic. Imagine a group of scammers creating a commotion at a craps table, diverting attention while one of them tries to slip in a loaded dice or palm some chips. Emotional manipulation is another powerful tool. Some scammers are masters at gaining the trust of dealers or players, exploiting their kindness or sympathy to gain an edge. They might feign distress, pretend to be down on their luck, or even shower their victims with compliments and flattery. Social engineering is a more sophisticated form of psychological manipulation where scammers use deception and trickery to obtain sensitive information or manipulate people into doing their bidding. They might impersonate casino staff, create fake websites, or use phishing emails to trick people into revealing their account details. The best defense against these psychological tricks is awareness. Casinos train their staff to be wary of suspicious behavior, to trust their instincts, and to report anything that seems out of place. Let's talk gadgets, folks. The world of casino scams is full of ingenious, albeit illegal, contraptions designed to give cheaters an unfair advantage. One classic example is the magnet-based tool. These sneaky devices can be used to influence the outcome of roulette spins by interfering with the ball's movement. Casinos combat this with non-magnetic roulette wheels and vigilant staff trained to spot any suspicious devices. Then there are light wands, small, inconspicuous devices that use light beams to cheat at slot machines. By shining the light into the machine's sensor, scammers can confuse the machine into thinking more coins have been inserted or trigger a jackpot payout. Fake card shufflers are another ingenious invention. These devices look and feel like regular shufflers, but they're rigged to keep certain cards together or in a specific order, giving the cheater a significant advantage. Casinos are constantly on the lookout for these rigged devices, using metal detectors, surveillance cameras, and regular inspections to keep their games fair. Sometimes the most significant threat to a casino security comes from within. We're talking about insider threats, employees who use their access and knowledge to cheat the system. Programmers, for example, have the skills to manipulate casino software, potentially altering odds, rigging games, or creating vulnerabilities that scammers can exploit. Casinos mitigate this risk with rigorous background checks, code reviews, and strict access controls. IT staff, with their access to networks and databases, could potentially steal sensitive player data, financial information, or even manipulate surveillance systems. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication, and regular security audits are crucial to prevent such breaches. Even seemingly low-level employees can pose a risk. Imagine a disgruntled cashier colluding with a scammer to cash out fake tickets, or a security guard turning a blind eye to suspicious activity in exchange for a bribe. Casinos combat insider threats through a combination of security measures, employee training, and a culture that encourages reporting suspicious behavior. While not strictly scams in the traditional sense, loan sharking and debt manipulation are dark realities of the casino world, preying on vulnerable gamblers and pushing them into desperate acts. Loan sharks, often with ties to organized crime, target gamblers deep in debt, offering them quick loans with exorbitant interest rates. When the gambler inevitably can't repay, the threats and violence begin. Some loan sharks even push desperate gamblers into participating in other scams, using them as pawns to launder money or cash out fake chips. It's a vicious cycle that can lead to financial ruin and even physical harm. Casinos are cracking down on loan sharking by increasing security, banning known associates of organized crime, and working closely with law enforcement to identify and apprehend these predators. They're also implementing responsible gaming measures, providing resources for problem gamblers, and promoting awareness about the dangers of excessive gambling and debt. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the fascinating and sometimes frightening world of casino scams. From card sharks to tech wizards, from crooked dealers to desperate gamblers caught in a web of debt, we've seen the lengths people will go to try and beat the system. But remember, the house always has the edge. Casinos are constantly evolving, investing in sophisticated technology and employing highly trained staff to stay one step ahead of the scammers. So, the next time you find yourself in a casino, enjoy the excitement, try your luck, but always be aware of your surroundings. Protect yourself and play responsibly.